So here's some of the tools that you need. So if you have a set that will push calipers in, that's great. If not, personally, you can do it with a screwdriver and a big pair of pliers, and I'll show you what I mean by that. But here I also included that, just so you know that I am a certified mechanic and I do know what I'm doing. Okay, so here we go. This is a 14. And so just making sure that it's lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, right? So we know that this is going off, right? Now on these, if you're lucky, you can get it to pop off without having to put a vice grips, thank you, on this portion right here. But if it starts to turn, I can put vice grips on it. So if I could hand you this camera real quickly and just keep on here. Okay. Okay, so if you can see that, what's happening right there is it's moving with that. So it's easy enough, no worries. I'm just going to grab a pair of vice grips real quickly. Grab onto it like this. Okay, and now I can turn this and pop this off. Sometimes I like to do a little like pop. Okay. We'll edit that out. Okay, so here you just want to go ahead and grab a pair of vice grips, and you can put the 14 on here and then grab it with vice grips, and then you can pop this off. Grab it a little bit tighter here. Okay, grab it with vice grips and pop this off. There we go. Okay, so now it's loose. I'm going to loosen up the top one. I'll come off with my fingers now. Okay. Before I take that off all the way, really I should just loosen these. I'm going to push the caliper in. Okay. So again, making sure that I'm on the right points that I want to be on. Making sure that this is in the lefty-loosey position. Got that off, gotten loosened. Now, personally, I'm going to take a screwdriver, hook it into the caliper, and get that piston to push in. And it's going to push all the fluid from the piston back up into the master cylinder. Okay, get about this far, get it between the caliper, and push it in. If I don't end up pushing it all the way in, that's okay. I can use a pair of pliers after. So here, I'm going to take off these bolts. I need to use my tool here, that's fine. So one of the things I want to mention, and I'll kind of show you what I mean once I get to that place, but when I went to the store to buy my brake pads, I had two different options. And it was the difference between a $70 pair of brake pads and a $25 pair of brake pads. And the main difference between the two were the clips, the hardware, if you will. So these little clips push the pads back out. The piston in here pushes the pads in, squeezes the rotor, and if you are familiar with the way a bicycle works, same idea. It will grab onto that wheel and stop it from spinning, just on a different scale here. So this side of the pads actually is not as bad as the other side. The other side was definitely ready to be done. These pads you can see here are not so bad. The pads on the other side had a lot more wear. And so right now we're currently doing the right side. The pads on the left side, which are closer to the master cylinder, had a lot more wear. And so here again, the main difference was the clips. So these little clips have a little hook here, and so we just get under that little hook. We push them out, push them out, push them out. And it's okay if I bend this a little bit because I can bend it back. And this is our indicators. This is what tells us when it's time to do the brakes, okay? So when it's time to do the brakes, what happens is this little portion here will rub against your rotor, and it causes a squealing, a very distinct squealing noise. So if you've ever heard your brake squeak, that's what it is, okay? And then here, we're gonna get from the other side, you wanna put, when I took this out, just so you notice, this is on the top. The reason for that is the wheel turns this way. So when you stop, the portion that's gonna wear a lot faster is this upper portion here. So when this wears, this hits the rotor, makes a squealing sound, and we know it's time to change our brakes. Of course, you wanted to have them checked on a regular basis, but this is a 2016 Toyota Camry that we have done a lot of wear on. It's at 55,000 miles, and we've never had anything to do but the oil change, air filters, and then once flush and fill the transmission fluid. And one of the reasons I chose this vehicle is they're so low maintenance and the parts are so accessible and inexpensive. Okay, so the main places that we want to clean, and I just use here, going to be these areas here where the clips meet. And you want to take your anti-seize or ultra brake, make sure that this is for brakes. You want to make sure that any lubricant you use is specifically for brakes, because if you use the wrong lubricant, it can swell the rubber. And so with brakes, one of the most important things is that you're not damaging any of the rubber parts that are involved with the brake system. So here we're just going to take some of this, we can rub it on there. Beautiful. You can feel it when it sucks back in. Pull this out, pull the little rubber piece back. Here there's a rubber piece there. This will not damage the rubber because I know I'm using the proper lubricant. So there, here, stick that back in. On the new pads, I just need to grab real quickly. So, the new pads, I want to make sure that I put those clips back in the right place. So I'm going to take a clip and I'm going to put it right on top right here. If I feel like when I did the other side, I felt some looseness. These are easily bendable. There you go, clip. And again, this piece and this piece are what's considered hardware when you're looking to buy your brakes. And that is the difference in the case that I was looking at between $70 and $25. Here, I'm going to put a little bit of lubricant where I know it's going to be rubbing on the base. And here, I'm going to put a little bit back here. Because if you've ever heard brakes that just squeal really bad, this can help relieve that. So I'm going to do that on this. Now here, when I'm putting these in, there's a little bit of a trick to it. You almost want to do it to the side. If you can see here, I'm pushing that clip in first. And there. It just is going to pop right in. Oh, see, I missed it a little bit on the bottom here. No worries. You don't want to ever get lubricant on the surface of the pad or the rotor. There we go. Pop, pop. And I'm going to take the one over here, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put that clip on the top, making sure that this is going to be on the top. And we're going to put some lubricant where it's going to be of the most use. And we're going to do there. Oh, might have to get my head in the way of the camera here for a second. I can't see. Oh, babe, I'm gonna have to get my head in here. Okay, and we're popped in. I'll take just a little bit more of this, and they give you almost the exact amount. Just stick some of that back there. Now, we're going to take our clips, which is again part of the hardware. And when you push these clips in, it's going to immediately want to force those pads away from each other. That's its job, to try to pull these pads apart. And so I'm holding it together with my top left hand here. And if I let go, it would immediately push them out. So here there are little holes in the pads that are designed for these clips. Now I'm holding this together. I'm going to take my caliper, swing it on over, bring it on up, and take my bolts. And I like to always time myself. Back in the old days when I first started, we got paid by the hour. And by the time I did leave the industry, part of the reason was because they did put us on what they call flat rate. So of course, by the time I got to flat rate, what that means is that you get paid a certain amount of time per job. So if you get paid an hour and a half to do brakes, but you could manage to get it somehow done in less time than that, then you made more. So that's why I started timing myself. And now even to this day, when I do my own oil changes, or I'm doing diagnoses for friends and family, I'm always timing myself and taking pride in the fact that I can get it done efficiently, properly, and quickly. Okay, so here I can feel this bolt turning on me again. So I'm going to use these same vice grips. And make sure that this is decently tightened. And then same for the bottom. And then my dear sweet love of my life husband is gonna put the tire back on for me. There we go. And oops. Tight. And my brakes should be good for another 50,000 miles. So you could see the pads were not even completely dead. And that really didn't take very long. And the pads cost me, with the little lube that we got, it cost about $30. So I believe we probably saved ourselves about $300. So I hope that helps somebody out there save some money too. And have a great day.